Hey everyone, excited to dive into Whiskymessen 2025 with you today. It looks like an amazing event. And to get prepped, you've actually sent over some stuff to look at. A blog post and the Whiskymessen website.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. It's cool to have both of these. We've got the fan perspective from Steven's blog and then the official details too.
You're right, it's like getting the inside scoop and the official program all at once.
Exactly.
So before we jump into the tips and tricks, can you give us a little rundown of Whiskymessen? Just set the scene for us.
You got it. So Whiskymessen is Denmark's biggest whiskey festival. They're expecting something like 1,800 different whiskeys
Wow.
from 69 exhibitors, and it's all happening on Saturday, March 1st, spread out across 2 huge halls. Oh, and they've actually got the whole whiskey list online already, so you can start planning your tastings.
1,800 whiskeys. That's a lot of whiskey. I can definitely see why we'd need some guidance here. And luckily, Steven's blog post jumps right into tips. He starts by suggesting, well, a hearty breakfast.
Oh, definitely. Good advice in general, but super important when you're going to be tasting whiskey all day. Pacing yourself is going to be key. You don't want to overdo it. You want to actually enjoy it.
Totally agree. He also talks about talking to the brand ambassadors at the booths. He makes them sound like these awesome resources.
I mean, they really are. It's a chance to not just taste, but learn.
Yeah.
Ask about the distilleries, hear the stories behind the whiskeys. It adds a whole other level of appreciation.
And he even has some specific things he recommends checking out. He says, don't miss the exclusive bar in Hall 2. Apparently, they've got some really rare whiskeys there.
Yeah, the exclusive bar is kind of legendary at Whiskymessen. You get to taste some whiskeys you usually wouldn't have access to. Just keep in mind, you might have to pay a bit more for those special drams.
And he's super excited about the Whiskey Mess malt. It's a whiskey that's bottled just for the festival.
Oh, nice.
This year, it's a 12-year-old Inchgour from Signatory Vintage. He's actually going to be there at 3:00 p.m. for a toast.
Oh, cool.
So if you're lucky, you might catch him.
That Whiskey Mess malt sounds intriguing, actually. Exclusive bottlings are always fun to check out. And a 12-year-old Inchgour from Signatory. I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye out for that. They usually pick some pretty fantastic casks.
Right. Okay, so we've got a sense of the layout. We know there's this exclusive bar to watch out for and tons of whiskeys to taste. But let's talk about the masterclasses. What are those all about?
So masterclasses, think of them like in-depth sessions. Deep dives within the deep dive. They're usually led by experts, and they focus on specific brands, regions, or techniques.
Right. And speaking of experts, Steven was raving about the HSG Whiskey Masterclass. Apparently, you get a whole bottle of their whiskey, plus a voucher for their booth.
Wow.
Sounds like a pretty sweet deal. But looking at the official website, there are so many other masterclasses to choose from. There are scientific lectures, a session with the distillery manager from Ardna Merchant, one all about Port Ellen and old blends. It's a lot to take in.
It is. And they all sound pretty great. But the Port Ellen Masterclass, that one's definitely grabbing my attention. I mean, Port Ellen is this legendary closed distillery from Islay. They made these amazing peaty whiskeys. Bottlings are so rare now.
Right.
To get to try some alongside old Scotch blends.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool opportunity. Like tasting history,
Yeah, Port Ellen is almost mythical in the whiskey world. Okay, so we've got Steven's insider recommendations, and now we're starting to get a feel for these master classes. But before we get completely lost in all this deliciousness, I think we need to talk logistics. Like, how do you actually get to Whiskymessen? How do you make sure you don't break the bank once you're there?
Good point. The website is really helpful for that. They list all the different ways to get to the event, which is important when you don't want to be driving after all that whiskey.
Right.
They also have info on their VIP club. If you're a member, you get perks like early entry and access to these exclusive lounge areas. Something to think about if you want to upgrade your experience.
Oh, and they have those comfy Sackett lounge chairs spread around the venue. I can already picture myself sinking into one of those after a few tastings. Anything else catch your eye on the website?
A couple of things. There's a new cookbook coming out, Mad Med Promoler #2, which basically translates to food with percentages.
Fitting.
Right. And they also remind you to book your masterclass tickets in advance and order food ahead of time, which makes sense.
Those little logistical things can really make a difference. And speaking of details, there are a few new exhibitors this year, too. Highland Soap Co., Bourbon.dk, and Kajah Beef Jerky.
Nice.
They've really got it all. Luxury soaps, fancy chocolates, beef jerky. It's like they've thought of everything.
It's not just about the whiskey. Whiskymessen is a whole experience. It's about celebrating all the good stuff that goes with it, too. Food, crafts, all of it.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground. This is just the beginning, though. We've got more tips to share, more insights to uncover, and more whiskey to discuss. So stick around as we delve even deeper into Whiskymessen 2025.
Welcome back to our Whiskymessen deep dive.
We're ready for more. Last time, we were just starting to talk about all those master classes. Which ones are you most excited about?
You know, the scientific lectures with Dr. Klaus Rosenspear sound really cool. He's a big name in fermentation science. I think it'll be fascinating to hear him talk about the more technical side of whiskey making.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to get swept up in the romance of it all.
Right.
But the science behind it is just as amazing. What about you? Anything else catching your eye on that masterclass list?
Well, you mentioned the session with Gray Mackay, the distillery manager from Ardent Merchant. That one sounds pretty special.
Oh, definitely. Ardent Merchant is a pretty young distillery. They only started in 2014. But they're doing some really cool things like using local peat and direct-fired stills, kind of a mix of old school and new school approaches.
I see.
So to hear him talk about their whiskey, their process, I think it would be really interesting.
It's like a glimpse into the future of whiskey making, but with a nod to the past.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got master classes, but we also have this massive online whiskey catalog to contend with. Over 1,800 options. How do you even approach something like that?
Right. Well, I don't think you need to try to tackle it all at once. Maybe focus on what you already know you like. Are you a big peat fan?
Love me some peat.
Okay, so maybe prioritize distilleries from Islay. Or, I don't know, are you curious about a certain region, Speyside maybe?
Yeah.
Or do you want to try different cask types, like sherry casks? Whatever you're into, use the catalog to kind of zero in on those specific things.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about making Whiskymessen your own.
Yeah, it's not about checking off every single whiskey. It's
Yeah.
about finding the ones that you're really going to enjoy.
And on that note, I think it's time for a reality check. Budgeting. Whiskey can be, well, it's not always cheap, especially at an event like this. Any advice for our listener on how to not go overboard?
Definitely. It's easy to get carried away when you're surrounded by so much amazing whiskey. But I think it's smart to set a budget beforehand.
Yeah.
Decide how much you're comfortable spending and try to stick to it. And honestly, if something is just way out of your price range, don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
There will be plenty of other whiskeys that you can afford to try.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's tempting to go for all those rare bottlings and limited editions, but sometimes you have to be realistic. Which reminds me, we were talking about the exclusive bar earlier with all those hard-to-find whiskeys. Any tips for navigating that part of the festival?
Well, think of the exclusive bar like a museum. You admire the rare pieces, maybe choose one or two that you really want to experience, and really savor those. You wouldn't try to see everything in a museum in one go,
Yeah,
right?
I love that analogy. It's about appreciating the rarity and not feeling pressured to try absolutely everything. And we know Steven is recommending that Whiskey Mess malt there, that 12-year-old Inchgour.
Right.
He's going to be there at 3:20 p.m. for a toast too. What do you think about trying to meet up with him?
I think it would be fun. Whiskey people are usually pretty cool. It's always nice to connect with someone who shares your passion, you know.
And who knows, maybe we'll get even more insider tips from him. It's great that Whiskymessen brings people together like that.
Exactly. It's like a big whiskey family.
Yeah.
Okay, now, while we're on the topic of maximizing your Whiskymessen experience,
Yeah.
I want to emphasize the importance of observation. Don't just focus on the taste, you know.
Okay.
Really look at the whiskey, the color, how it moves in the glass, smell it, take in all the aromas. Those little details can really enhance your appreciation.
It's like slowing down to really appreciate a work of art.
Exactly. And don't forget to take notes. Write down your tasting impressions, any whiskeys you loved, even just interesting snippets of conversation. It's a great way to remember everything later.
I love that, like a whiskey diary.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot. Master classes, the catalog, budgeting, even how to really appreciate the whiskey. What else do you think our listeners should be prepared for?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, pacing is key. Don't feel like you need to rush.
Right.
Take breaks, drink water, maybe step outside for some fresh air if you need to. It's a long day and you want to enjoy it all.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, for sure. I have to admit, I'm getting a bit overwhelmed just thinking about all the whiskeys and experiences waiting for us. But it's a good kind of overwhelm.
I know what you mean, but just approach it with curiosity, you know? Be open to new things. Let go of any expectations you might have and just see where the whiskey takes you.
Beautifully said. Now, amidst all this talk about whiskey and tasting, We can't forget about the food. Remember Steven was raving about the Flaskesteg sandwich?
Oh, yeah, a classic Danish treat.
Mm-hmm.
Crispy pork belly, pickled red cabbage, remoulade sauce, all in a crusty roll.
It's incredible, like seriously delicious. The crispy pork, the tangy cabbage, the creamy sauce, it's a flavor explosion.
I've got to try one. I'm definitely adding that to my list.
And remember, they encourage pre-ordering food, so definitely do that so you don't miss out. Speaking of things to pre-order, those Sackett lounge chairs are calling my name.
They do look comfy.
I can already picture myself sinking into one with a Flaskesteg sandwich in one hand and a dram of whiskey in the other, just taking it all in.
Sounds like the perfect way to recharge. It's all about balance.
Exactly. Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to ask you a question. We've talked about so much, but if you could give our listener just one key piece of advice to take with them to Whiskymessen, what would it be?
I think it would be to remember that Whiskymessen is a celebration. It's a celebration of whiskey, of craftsmanship, of community. So go in with an open mind, be curious, be ready to try new things, and most importantly, have fun.
I love that. It's about embracing the spirit of the event and letting the whiskey guide you. Now, before we get too philosophical, what about those new exhibitors? The soap, the chocolates, the jerky. What are your thoughts on those additions?
I think it's great. It shows that Whiskymessen is more than just a whiskey festival. It's about celebrating all the good things in life.
Yeah, I'm particularly intrigued by that Highland Soap Co. After a day of whiskey tasting, I think a nice luxurious soap would be amazing.
Their soaps are all natural, made with essential oils, so they smell amazing, and they're good for your skin.
And then there's bean2bite.dk with their fancy chocolates, perfect for cleansing the palate between all those whiskeys.
And if you're more of a savory person, there's Kaju beef jerky. They use premium cuts of beef and unique spice blends.
It's like they've thought of everything. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive, but there's still more to come. Stay tuned as we wrap things up and prepare you to conquer Whiskymessen 2025. All right, whiskey fans, we're back for the final part of our Whiskymessen 2025 prep. How are we feeling? Ready to tackle this festival?
I think so. We've gone over just about everything. Tasting tips, masterclass picks, even how to budget. I'm feeling pretty well equipped.
Me too. But before we wrap things up completely, I want to circle back to those little details from the website. The announcements, the reminders, the things that might seem minor but can actually save you a lot of hassle.
Yeah, good point. Sometimes those little things can make a big difference.
Like, remember how they emphasize booking masterclass tickets in advance?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And pre-ordering food. It's easy to forget about those things when you're focused on all the whiskey.
But seriously, it's so worth it. No waiting in line. You can just relax and enjoy the event.
Speaking of things to enjoy, I'm still thinking about those new exhibitors they mentioned. The soap company, the chocolate place, the beef jerky. It's like Whiskymessen has its own little market alongside the whiskey.
I know, right? It's such a cool addition. It shows that they get it. Whiskymessen is not just about the whiskey. It's about the whole experience. Food, good company, even a little pampering.
I'm kind of obsessed with the idea of that Highland Soap Co.
The soap.
Yeah. Imagine after a whole day of whiskey tasting, you get to go back to your hotel and use this amazing all-natural soap. It's like a little reward for your senses.
I like it. And of course, we can't forget about bean2bite.dk. Their chocolates sound delicious.
Oh, yeah. Perfect for a little palate cleanser between all those whiskeys.
Exactly. And then if you're in the mood for something a bit more savory, there's always KG beef jerky. High quality, small batch, interesting flavors.
Okay, so we've got the logistics down, we've got the snacks covered, but what about the mental game? What advice would you give our listener on how to approach this whole Whiskymessen experience mindset-wise?
Honestly, just be open to everything. Be curious, try new things, talk to people. Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone a little bit. That's how you discover new favorites.
Oh, right. It's about embracing the unexpected. And it's not about trying to do everything or taste everything. It's about finding those whiskeys that really resonate with you.
That's it. The ones that tell a story, the ones that make you go, wow, I haven't tasted anything like this before.
And write it all down. Those tasting notes, those little moments of discovery, even just conversations you have with people, it's all part of the experience.
Yeah, it's like creating your own personal Whiskymessen memory book.
Exactly. Okay, one last question for you before we wrap up this deep dive. If you could give our listener just one piece of advice, one golden nugget of wisdom to take with them to Whiskymessen, what would it be?
Trust your gut. That's it. Yeah. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Don't get caught up in the hype. Choose the whiskeys that you're drawn to. Go to the master classes that sound interesting to you, and just have a great time.
Love it. Simple, but so true. Trust your palate, be adventurous, and have fun. Who knows what amazing whiskeys and experiences are waiting for you at Whiskymessen 2025.
Cheers to that. We'll be raising a glass from afar, thinking of all the delicious discoveries you're making.
And to all our listeners, cheers to you. Happy Whiskymessen. And we'll see you back here for our next whiskey adventure.